We've been talking about what leaders do, and we've been concentrating primarily on the fact that they think and that they have to. And we talked about them thinking, reflectively and learning from reflective thinking. We've talked about thinking harder, right? We've talked about thinking strategically, right? There's another element to it that I want to talk briefly on, and it won't take very long. But I want to talk to you about the fact that leaders realize that we have to think in terms of systems. Systems, plural. Right? Now, I'll start off this little discussion by giving you an example. We all have in our lives an economic system where we make money, we are paid for something that we do, or we've inherited it, or you've got, but somehow you have some degree of cash flow. And you spend it on various things. That is an economic system or a financial system for a family. Right? The nation has an economic system which includes international trade, it includes the budget, it includes the gross domestic product, all those things that go into making up the American economy. We also have a separate monetary system, right, which has to do with the Fed releasing money into the public, at what interest rates, right? The amount of money that is available from the Fed, the Federal Reserve System, and at what interest. That's a monetary system. Now, the monetary system and the economic system are different. The fiscal system, part of the economic system, is what the government takes in taxes and what it spends. But there's also the private sector system. What it produces, collects, and spends. So all of these systems, right, they're bumping up against each other and overlapping into a big, broader view, what we might call our economic system. But at the same time, we have to have a system of national defense. And that includes Homeland Security and the Department of Defense and the National Security Agency and all of those other agencies whose job is to defend us. Right? And they have a large demand for funds from the economic system, from the fiscal system of the government. And then we say we have a transportation system. Right? Well, in our home, we have a transportation system. I'm often amazed at a middle-income family. You drive through the suburbs and you can see this. You see this house sitting there, and it's a split level, and the garage, and I never understood this, the garage is out in front. So the first thing you see is where people put an inanimate, stinking object called a car. You don't see the people, you see the car thing first. But anyway, you pull up to this split level, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, and there may be 4 or 5 automobiles sitting in front of it. Mom's got one, Dad's got one, plus a pickup truck. Each of the boys got one, maybe even the daughter's got one. Now, what do you suppose that transportation system is doing to their economic system? The overlap of that. So, and then there's a value system that we talk about. We have religious values, we have family values, all of those make up a system. We have an agricultural system. We have a labor system. Right? That all impacts and they all overlap and combine. Now, those in charge of the national economy and those in charge of our household economy and those in charge of a business economy, an organization, have to think about all of those things at the same time. Because they don't operate like a college campus in silos. Right? They are interrelated. Let me give you an example another way. A few years ago, I have a hobby. I love to cook. All right, I absolutely love to cook, and I got my interest in cooking from my Sicilian grandmother-in-law who lived with us for some time. And she taught me to cook. Mangia, mangia, you know. She was Sicilian. Mangia, mangia, eat, you know. And I learned to cook from Grandma Bella. Bella, good. Vella, Vella. I learned to cook from Grandma Bella. Well, I wanted to learn more about cooking Italian food, and a few years ago, especially Sicilian food, my wife and I and two of our friends went to Sicily. And we stayed a little over 2 weeks, and I took a couple of cooking classes, but mostly we did sightseeing. We drank tons of red wine, and I swam in the Mediterranean Sea with my oldest daughter who joined us there. All right? Now, what's the point? Well, I left northern Wisconsin, and I ended up in a little village called Terracini, Sicily. Think of all the things that had to happen at just the right time and just in the right place for me to be able to do that. The ticketing, right? The airplane had to be there. The security system, the baggage system had to be working. There had to be fuel at each airport. The customs people, all of these are part of the system of traveling internationally and going from one place to the other. And so leaders think all the time about the interrelationship of systems. It's easy for the people in facilities to say, we need to build a new warehouse. And the facilities manager says, yes, we do. And the operations manager said, yes, we do. But the CEO is sitting there, and he also knows about the cash flow and the cost of money and the fact that he also needs to build a new building in their Denver location. He has a broader systems view. We have to think that way. We have to think in terms of systems. Right? You can't just impose something. Right? For example, I have a project or a paper that I give students to write where they have to write a communication policy for a company. They've been hired as the vice president of communication for a large corporation that's got 25 offices across the United States. And they have to write a communication policy. And in that policy, it must have the things that they want to happen in terms of communication with internal and external customers. What are the policies that we will follow to have absolutely the best communication with internal and external customers? And internal customers with each other. So what are the behaviors and actions we want? And what will be the rewards for the people who absolutely excel doing that? On the other side, what are the behaviors and actions we do not want? And what will be the punishments or the cost to those people who violate and do the things we do not want? Well, think about all the things that would have to go in to designing a national, across the United States, 25 different offices, communication policy with different cultures, different ages, different sexual orientations, different state laws and regulations, federal laws and regulations, right? They all impact this little thing called a communication policy. It's systems thinking. Drawing a circle in the middle of the paper and everything that impacts it and how they are all connected is a system. And leaders have to think in terms of systems.